Hello, everyone. This is a new episode of our talks on research about the scientific method, and it's a great pleasure for me to introduce today's speaker and today's friend, also for a long time, colleague in the School of Engineering and Digital Sciences, the PhD candidate, Damira Mussina. She will be talking to us about her research, her life, and the research environment, and all her experience. I'm sure we will enjoy it. It will be about deep learning, artificial intelligence, and many other things. Damira, hello. How are you?
Hello. Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you for the invitation.
It's great to have you, and you are a big warrior and a person I know as a fighter that has been doing a great job and working very hard. And Damira, I want to know more about you before I go into the details of your research. How was your high school? What was the initiation of your career in science? How was that early time in your life?
Mm-hmm. When I was in high school, I was always dreamed to study abroad, and my parents also encouraged me to study hard and reach all my dreams. So first thing what I did after high school, I decided to learn English first of all in order to study abroad, and then after graduation, after getting my bachelor degree, I decided to apply for Bolashak scholarship and go to UK to get my MSc degree. Well, basically, I have many relatives who are teachers and researchers, so probably I had influence from them.
Yeah. I think a similar thing happened to me. Most of my family were from the academic field, and that's a good motivation to follow their field and their steps. And Damira, when you started your PhD, you were a TA at that moment at Nazarbayev University. What made you take the next step from the master's to the PhD? What was that force that drove you there?
So before joining a PhD program, I was a teaching assistant, and also I was involved in research projects. I was working with professors from School of Engineering, and actually they encouraged me to apply for a PhD program. So at that moment, we had a good project, and I had potential supervisors, and also we had a collaboration from American companies. So that was the ideal situation for me to apply for a PhD and continue that research as a PhD student.
Yeah,
so
I remember. Yeah, I remember your early days on that, and the beginning and all the difficulties typically a PhD student has to face. Sometimes even having to change the project or the advisor in the middle of the way. This is something that many of us might or might not face, and that's might be disturbing. But you had the courage to continue and to keep fighting, and this is something I feel is a very good example for other people to follow. And then when you started working in your topic of your thesis research, but by the way, you will defend in a few weeks, what was the area of your research? What is the topic you are now working on?
So we decided to focus on power lines, and specifically on electrical insulators. So we decided to build a novel inspection system for insulators, and I had two supervisors from different sides, from power engineering and from deep learning, artificial intelligence field. So we decided to why not to use these AI tools for power line application. And that was actually a great and exciting idea, and we started working on it. We gathered all the data from scratch.
Yeah, just to give a framework of the topic, how important are insulators in power lines? What part of a power line they represent?
Okay, so insulators are widely used in power lines. They actually support the conductors, and they provide the mechanical support, and also they isolate them from the towers. So basically they play a crucial role. And if even one insulator fails, so all the system might just stop and cause great economic damage.
And then before your research started, what was the typical approach people followed to do maintenance to these devices?
Yeah, well, conventional way is just to do it manually. People use helicopter or just they drive along the power lines and try to fix the problem just manually. Actually, it's very dangerous work, and we thought, why not to make it more economically feasible, also safer for engineers to conduct such kind of work.
Yeah.
So. Yes.
Yeah, I remember I've seen many videos in YouTube of helicopters doing this maintenance work. It's quite dangerous. And your approach then is a remote approach that uses artificial intelligence to detect potential damage. And what is artificial intelligence, which is something that is now very hot topic for people? How would you define it?
Well, AI is very hot topic, as you said, and it's applied almost in every field now, in medicine, in finance, in robotics, and many fields. So the idea was, why not to apply this tool and reduce human interference with this such dangerous work, and let machine do this manual, tedious work. So basically, what we are trying to do is to teach the machine to inspect this equipment by itself, by providing this data that we're collecting. We're collecting these 3 years. So the idea is to just reduce the cost, reduce the time, and reduce these hazards.
Yeah.
Yes.
I see. So your approach, the novelty in your approach then is remote detection using AI of these insulators. Can you say that this is the gap that you are trying to fill with your research?
Well, basically, there are nowadays many companies, especially Western companies from America and European companies. They are already implementing such system. They're using drones. They're using this software tools to conduct such works. But the idea for us is to improve the system and let the machine do automatically all the work, not just collecting the information, the visual information.
Okay. And did you do the work experimentally with a model in the computer? How was that work done? What was the methodology you followed to do that work?
Basically, it was a combination of both. Firstly, we started with the experimental in the lab. We used the insulator and the equipment to test the parameters. Also, we captured the images in the lab. And then the next step was capturing the real images in the field. And then we tried the models, existing models of the AI, to test our data. And based on the obtained results, we created our own model in order to improve the accuracy, to make the model more reasonable, more stable, and repeatable.
And now, how accurate is the prediction of the model? Once you send the drone with the capturing of the images with your algorithm, how accurate is the diagnosis that this made?
Mm-hmm. So basically, the model consists of the two parts, just based on the images only and based on the information fusion part. So based on the images, the accuracy is around 92%. It's actually a good accuracy, but deep learning models, they are based entirely on the data. But in real life, we have like different situations. The weather condition might be very bad, and we could get very noisy images. So the idea was to make the system robust. So we introduced new information. It's the leakage current information of the insulators. Basically, it's very widely used tool in power line companies.
Yeah.
So what we did, we just gathered this information and introduced in our model in order to improve the accuracy. So the visual information are enhanced because of this information fusion.
Yeah, I imagine the challenge, that having snow or dust on top of the insulator, how to detect the potential failure with all this noise around the device. Yeah, so it's quite challenging, and you still get more than 90% of accuracy. It's quite a success. It's really interesting, and then these results brought you to the end of the project, or close to the end, because you will defend your thesis very soon. In doing this work, what about publications? how many publications have you produced throughout your thesis, and how good is the quality of those publications? How can you value them, for example?
So far, I have 3 journal publications in Q1 journal. It's very good, reputable journals. And I attended 3 conferences. I presented my PhD topic, and so far it's good.
How important do you think is the conference setting for networking?
I think it's very important because in the conference you can meet different people from not only in academia but in the industry as well, and you can ask the questions. You can get very good ideas how to conduct your research, and you can get the contacts. You can just send the email, maybe get the additional data. Actually, it's very important.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And Damira, regarding the attitudes and the skills that you feel you have to succeed in PhD, what would you summarize are the most important 3 aspects of the personality of someone who could embrace successfully a PhD? What do you think are the 3 important factors that you need to have, or you should grow inside yourself to become successful?
I think first thing is persistent. You have to continue your work no matter what happens around you, and also be flexible, because things can get in unplanned way. And also you have to have soft skills. You have to communicate with others. I think it's very important to communicate with others, to be able to present your work, to have collaboration, friends, colleagues.
You have a life. I mean, you don't really are a slave, but you still have to work very hard.
Yes, you have to socialize. Yes, it's very important just to have your mind fresh. You have to socialize. You have to attend all possible scientific events, and also gather with your colleagues. Just discuss with them their projects and discuss your project. Yeah.
Now, all your experience and the community that is watching this video at this moment, maybe many high schoolers, university students, what would you recommend them if they are planning to continue their career in science? What are these recommendations you would give to them?
First thing, I would recommend to choose the project and the supervisors very wisely. The second thing is just be ready that things might get wrong. I mean, in terms of the time scale and the results of your research, and stay positive, have life apart of the PhD, and because 5-6 years, it's a long time, and be active. Like, don't sit in the lab and spend all your time just reading or writing. Just be socially active.
Great, Damira. Thank you so much, Damira, for giving us this space to discuss and have a conversation. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.